Okay, this is Chen Yu. So there's a lot of really good stuff going on here. Good attention to poses. There's kind of a nice sort of flow to the movement. It's pretty thoughtful. So um, yeah, overall it's pretty good. And we can just look at ways to improve it. Um, so you had a few questions. One was about the texture images, and one thing I noticed about when I've extracted your zip files that there's these two different folders, and there's this one volumes that has this project in it, and then there's one, well, I renamed that, I think it was under users, that has this other project and some other source images here. If we take a look at the my file, um, I'm just looking for the, hmm, I'm just trying to find the materials. Well, let's actually do it this way. So let's look in the hypershade and look at the textures and look at ones that are missing. And let's say this one. This one's been referenced in. I can see that it shows this full path, and what it should really show is it just shows source images and that, so it should be local to the source images directory. So let's see if there's an example like that. Maybe this one. Oh, it's not. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, that looks all the way back at the C drive. Huh. So, oh, this is what I'm talking about, where it just says source images and then the texture name. So that's what they should all look like. So what you want to do is make sure all of your texture images are in the source images directory of the project you're working within. And so, copy them over to there. And then you'll need any of the ones that are missing. And then, so put the texture images all in the same source images directory. Then, before you open your file, do file set project and set it to your project folder. Then open your scene file. Then go through each of the textures and then browse and relink them to the one in that source images directory. And then it should have just the short kind of local path that doesn't kind of look up to the top of the kind of hierarchy of folders. And that should work consistently after that. Regarding the trees, the reason the trees are moving is that you chose a paint effects brush with that was an animated tree. If you want to remove that, if I, for example, select this tree, and I'm going to go into the hypergraph, and I'm going to click on this button, which is input and output connections, and I can see that this object, this shape node of the object, still is fed by the paint effects nodes. And so if I just deleted those paint effects nodes, for example, whoops, I can see that that tree no longer moves. That one. This one still does. Just once again, hypergraph, show input and output connections, delete the paint effects nodes, and no movement now. As for kind of like robotic movement, I think it's not too bad, but one thing to look at with, for example, your in-betweens is look for arc shapes. So, as she goes from here to here, so like watch it now, watch this now. I mean, you're going down a little bit, but maybe we can get a little bit more of an arc in there, and it might be a little bit more appealing by kind of going down more. I have auto keyframe on. Do you like that better? It's easier to get smoother hand movement if you're in FK. IK hands are good when you're, you know, wanting the hand to be planted somewhere, like when you're climbing or leaning against something, but if you're not doing that. The other thing is, so if you stick, yeah, so right here, she moves this foot should stay planted until this foot is set down. See that? She hasn't, she's almost like floating here. So let's take this one and it sets down on what? This frame? 59? Okay. So this one starts picking up at 55. And what I would say is I'm going to middle mouse click here and S at another keyframe so it stays planted until this one's down and then that one goes up. But the other thing is that you really have to pay attention to how the weight shifts around. So you stay centered over the foot carrying the weight. So this foot is carrying the weight. So the root is going to, oops, the root is going to shift when because she has to shift her weight over this foot while this one's in the air, she'll kind of fall this way. So I would say that, by here, she's going to kind of do that. Okay, and then again, here, if she's doing that foot forward, she might kind of move herself back a little bit just to kind of counterbalance that foot. And then again here, maybe she kind of pushes back. You see her kind of push back away from that. And then when she sets her foot down, you can, as she's going up here, you might go up a little bit and kind of over a little bit. And then when she sets her foot down, you might go down a little bit. Yeah, and then just look for any opportunities to do arcs, Look at the hand movements. But really, it's looking pretty good. So I think I covered the questions you had. But yeah, do a pass where you look at arcs. Do a pass where you really look at, where her weight is centered. What foot's carrying the weight, and kind of center the center of gravity over that. And yeah, and then if there's any more kind of breakdown poses you want to add, that might help kind of break up the movement a little bit. So it looks a little less pose to pose. And you can play with the timing a little bit more too. Like maybe you want to speed certain things up and slow certain things down. Because right now it's a bit even in its timing. I mean, there's some faster parts and slower parts, but I think you could, just experiment with speeding some things up and slowing things down. Like what if, for example, like here, like before she pushes this, let's select everything. Like maybe before she pushes this, there's kind of a hold. So I'll do keys, add in between. Oh, didn't like that. Wasn't here maybe? Keys, add in between. Let's do G, 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 G. So I've slowed this down. Oh, you've got the timing of that. I didn't actually. Well, I'll fix that afterwards. And then maybe this speeds up a lot. Maybe key remove in between. G, G. Keys remove in between. G, G. So now it's slow, fast. So, and let's get this to match. So goes from here to there. I'm not sure what is that. That key doesn't do anything. Okay. Um, so it should start at 78. Oh, it didn't go all the way for some reason. I may have messed something up, but unless it slides a little bit, I don't know. But when does this finish? This finishes at 83. So I might get rid of this and move this one back to 83. Something like that. So it's just an example, but take a look. See just the idea there's sort of this anticipation, and then you feel like a nice quick movement. So look for opportunities to vary the speed more, like kind of put more holds in slower periods and other things that are much quicker, and I think you'll get a more lively, sort of less robot-like animation.